So welcome to tonight's video. I have a new setup now on YouTube, and it's thanks really to my patrons who are amazing. They're the ones who have really given me this consistent revenue that have enabled me to buy more, invest in paints and paper, and now some filming abilities. So now I'm going to be able to film from 3 angles. So you can also thank my patrons, YouTubers, because they're the ones who have enabled me to improve the quality of the work that I do. So tonight we're just going to do a big free landscape. It's not massive, it's an A3 size landscape, and let's get started. If you haven't already, then make sure you subscribe to my channel, because otherwise you might miss some videos. And if you want to join me on Patreon, then by all means, the link is underneath and up here. So thanks guys, let's get painting, because that's what we're here for. So first step, we're just going to wet the page, and I use a spray bottle a bit, just because it just makes it faster, I suppose. And as you can see, this is much fresher water here compared, this is a little bit cloudy. So if I want really fresh water, I'll definitely be grabbing it from here. Whereas if I want to rinse out a brush, I'll do it in that one or the back one there. So I'm just going back and forth, up and down, nice big strokes. And I'm getting used to how big this page is, because so far in this course, we haven't painted this big. So you've got to just get used to how big that is. Look to the side, make sure there's water covering all of it, and then we can get started. So just load up with some yellow ochre first. We'll come in with some warm colours first, and we'll just come in like this. Bit in here. We'll get a little, we've still got yellow ochre on the brush. We'll just load up with a little bit of raw umber here to just give it a little bit of dark. We'll put that brush down, we'll get another brush. Get it wet, flick it out or dab it, and then we're going to load up with some cobalt blue. So this is a Ron Ranson Hake brush. It's a little bit firmer. Still works beautifully well. So we're coming around the yellow ochre with the cobalt blue initially. And then we might just come in and go over the top a little bit. We might just come back in with the yellow ochre in underneath here. And then we're just going to load up still with the cobalt blue. We're just going to load up with the cobalt blue light red mix. So just going to come in over the top here. And if it's getting a little bit dry, I can always just spray a little bit of mist onto there just to moisten it a bit. Oh, Jesus. See, look at that. Mistake. All right. Good chance to show how to fix this. So I've come in, I've got a damp 1-inch hake, and I'm just going to feather this. Feather this. Work that a little bit there. And I might just get a little bit of the darker, just come in over the top of that. See what I mean about sometimes you've got to work really fast in watercolour. Just going to get a little bit more light there. And then I'm just going to come in with a damp hake just to so I've got to be careful. If I brush past this dark here with the yellow ochre, I'm going to load up a bit with the dark. So it just means I've got to not, if I want to keep this all light here, I can't go back and forth. You can charge an area with pure pigment, it'll push it away, but you can't just go back and forth, back and forth. What I might just do here a little bit is just spray out a little bit here, okay? Just so I've got a little bit of light. I kind of like looking at this. This is a great place to have a bit of light here and here. So let's just spray this out a little bit. I'll just tilt this up a little bit and then I'll just spray a little bit just here. Lovely. Just leave that tilted a bit. Got some tissues. We'll clean up a bit. What I'm also going to do is just come in with some tissues and just keep turning. I'm going to come in just here as well to just get a little bit of light. Keep turning the tissue. Always keep turning the tissue. I'm going to come in with a dark just here a bit more. Come in with a light. And I'm just going to come in on the horizon here with the dark. So this is a mix of cobalt blue, light red. Lovely, so I think that's our first layer done. There's a bit of water moving up this way, so I'm just going to take that out a little bit. Then with the tissue, I'm just going to come in a little bit here. Keep turning the tissue. So there's a bit of light there. Beautiful. Very light touch. Very light. And there's still that drop that landed there that's still a bit visible for my liking. So I'm just going to come in with the brush and just put something a bit darker here. Right, so first layer done. Sometimes it cannot really look exactly how you want it to look, and that's normal in watercolor. And I think sometimes what's worth doing is just letting it sit there. Just let it sit and let it dry and do its movement, and then you can come back. And I think sometimes you'll be really surprised by how lovely it now looks if you've just left it alone and not played with it too much. So now we're going to move on to painting the body of landscape in this. We're going to keep it pretty simple. We're going to keep it monochromatic really. We're going to use Payne's Grey. We could use a mix of Winsblue red shade and light red, but we're just going to use Payne's Grey. And we're just going to come in and keep it relatively simple. So let's get on and do that part. So we've got a pretty thick mix here of Payne's Grey. And if I wanted to, I could tape off where I don't want that paint to go. Like I could tape off here and just paint above and then drag it down. But let's just do this without taping at the moment. So I've got my 2-inch Holbein Hake, and I could use a 1-inch one, but I just prefer to use larger brushes. It keeps it more free. And again, you could come in with a pencil sketch and decide where you want, that mountain to be. And same here, you could do that. But I like to come in and just paint and not be too planned, But of course you could really easily just trace out a line, decide where you want the horizon to be on both sides if you want to do that. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to leave this here because this is like a mid-tone, it's like a distant one. So I might just leave that. And I can come back in a bit with a finer brush, okay, and do something that's finer. We might just have the water system coming around here. Might just get a 1-inch hake. And we'll just drag this down a bit, not too far, but just a bit. We'll drag this down. Might just get my round sable, load up with a little bit of this, just so if I wanted to, I can just make a bit more of a, you know, a finer mark. And then I can come in and make my sable a sharper chisel. Rinse out, take a little bit of moisture off. Just drag this down a bit. Use this 1-inch hake again, rinse all of it out so it's nice and fresh, and then we'll just bring in some fresh water here. Bit more fresh water. Rinse out a bit more fresh water just to help this pigment to move a bit. Just come in here and wipe out a bit there. Oop. Just use this flat nylon just to come in a bit here. I'm just mopping it up a bit, like I'm just disturbing it a bit and then mopping it up a bit. And then I'll get a little bit of wet shadow down in here. Let's just get a little bit of wet. Bit more wet. Pick up the pigment. Fresh tissue. Fresh pigment. Flick out. Just taking that light out there. I'll take this back here a bit. Just picking up pigment off the brush. And I might just soften this a bit here, okay? So I've got a damp sable. I'm just going to run that over, rinse that out, damp again, take a little bit out, run that over, flick out, run this over here, just to soften that. Where I want the subject to be is around here. I'm getting some beautiful contrast happening there. I just might take this down a bit further, just take this down a bit into here. Fresh water, flick out tissues. Getting pigment out just so it lifts up a few lights here in this wet. I think that'll almost do. Now I know that's a bit frantic sometimes. There's things that kind of have to happen while things are still wet. So what I'm going to do now is dry this, and then I might scrape some areas back a bit just to get a little bit more from a highlights point of view. So let's just do that. I'm just going to weaken, just soften this edge a little bit here too. Just run this back and forth a little bit. Do the same up here a bit. There we go. Just to soften that edge. Just helps to bring your eye to these beautiful contrasty bits here, bit here. Yeah, lovely. So let's just have a look down on the page for a second. There's some things down here that some people might see as being mistakes and try and fix. Like there's the Payne's Grey here has gone up, it's been a bit wet above it, and so it's gone up here. Here there's it doesn't really look what a land would look like with those sort of bits of brushwork there. This here really. And some artists might come in and try and fix this, or some beginners might come in and try and fix all of these, what they might view as mistakes. But the best thing I would say is to leave all of those things, step back from it and see if it works, because most of the time we're viewing them from up close, and really what we need to do is to step right back, like a number of meters, step right back and see how does it look for me right now that I'm back from it, because that's the way a piece of art is meant to be viewed, not from right up close. And it shouldn't, in my eyes anyway, my opinion is that it shouldn't really try and look exactly the way it should look. It should look fresh and interesting and energetic and those sorts of things. So that's why I love painting with a hake brush as opposed to getting too detailed with a small brush. So excellent. So I'm just going to scrape out a little bit of a light here. Just here. Using this, so I'm just going to use this Stanley razor blade, and I'm just going to have this nice metal ruler here, and I've decided where I want that, which is from the edge of the land back in this way a bit to just give a bit more crispness. And it's not flat, but it's not angled too high. It's just angled a bit. I'm just going to really softly come back and forth. I can always scrape a bit more, but I can't really get it back easily. So I can take the ruler away, have a bit of a look. Nice, I like that. I'll just get a little bit here. Not as much, just a tiny bit. Yep, I think that's it. That's lovely. So thanks YouTubers for joining me in this video tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the 3 different angles. Bit interesting, hey, to see things from the face and from above and then from the side. So pretty cool. Yes. So that's the way I think I'll be doing most of my videos, although it does take up a lot of room on my hard drive. So if you liked this, please press like. If you didn't, then just don't press anything. And I will see you guys next week in the next week's video. Good night.